For our project, we came up with a hiring and recruiting brochure and policy manual for the Maple Heights Police Department in Maple Heights, Ohio. We broke it down into 3 simple sections: the recruitment, how will we target the applicant; a screening section, how will we evaluate the applicant; and finally a selection and evaluation section, what makes an applicant successful. And the general purpose for an overhaul of this agency's hiring manual was to create a standardized policy and procedures for the department. More importantly, we wanted to analyze how agencies across the nation are tackling the problem of diversity in the police department, and we wanted to incorporate some of those best practices and lessons learned from across the nation. We also wanted to make sure that the police officers of Maple Heights mirror the community that they serve. So the first section, the recruitment section, how are we targeting the applicant? We came up with different ways that include going to university job fairs to recruit brand new college applicants. We looked at going to high schools within a 60-mile radius of Maple Heights, Ohio, specifically in Cuyahoga County, to target local civilians. We also came up with a social media campaign that really targets 18 to 35-year-olds on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and that sort of thing, to get the word out there when we're hiring and the benefits of becoming a police officer with Maple Heights. And finally, we recognize the importance of having a full-time recruiting staff to answer emails, phone calls, and that sort of thing in the community. We looked at an overhaul of the diversity plan for the police department. We really wanted to make sure, like I said before, that police officers mirror the community, and we highlighted the importance of giving preference to locals in the area, because they know the people, they know the area, they know the streets. We also wanted to showcase the change of background standards. Instead of being required to be 21 to be hired, we changed that to 18. Instead of requiring at least an associate's degree, we changed that to a high school diploma. And we said we relaxed the drug standards. So as long as you haven't used marijuana within a 30-day period, you should be fine. And any other drugs, it had to be at least 12 months. And we did that to make sure that the police department is mirroring what is going on across the United States with the relaxed drug standards. And finally, in section 1, we came up with a basic job description. We laid it all out so that applicants knew exactly what they were getting into. We highlighted the calls for service. We highlighted the warrants. We highlighted the fact they're going to be having to testify in court. They highlighted the fact that we're going to be working nights, holidays, weekends, and so forth. In section 2 we came up with the screening process. So how will they be evaluated? We laid out the required documents to include things like a birth certificate, a driver's license, proof of residency, a bill from an apartment or a house, a resume, letters of recommendations, and that sort of thing. We also highlighted the different tests that are going to be required. These include a drug test, physical agility test, a medical test, and a polygraph test, and that sort of thing. But we didn't want to blindside the applicant. We want them to know exactly what's going on. And we also laid out some different criteria, such as law enforcement experience, other certifications, and that sort of thing, that can help the applicant rise above his peers and get hired. And finally, we came up with some interview questions. We came up with some interview questions about police officers taking money, understanding of law enforcement roles and responsibilities, just to ensure that the applicant is aware of what they're getting into. In the final section, which is the selection section, we came up with how we're going to judge the applicant as successful or a failure. We came up with a rating scale of 1 to 3 for each of the tests, 1 being the worst, 3 being the best. And based on that score, we come up with a total score, and that way we have numerical data to determine whether or not the applicant is successful or not. We also laid out the fact that an applicant will be required to go through a field training officer program in which he's paired with an experienced officer who will teach him the ways of the police department, and a probation period for about a year. We feel that this brochure creates policies and procedures that will help Maple Heights Police Department, and also incorporate the best practices and lessons learned about diversity from across the nation.